I want to talk about the power of shame, compassion, and connection. And it actually came from a dream I had about 4 nights ago, or 5 nights ago, right before, the day before Thanksgiving. I had this dream, and in the dream, I saw a very close relative of mine. I'll just call him John. Maybe I should call him something. People write me all the time like, don't make it John. My name's John. So how about Mo? Is there anyone in here named Mo? Okay, anybody watching by Bethel TV named Mo? Okay, I see nobody out there. Can you put an hour on the clock or so, 55 minutes or something? So I saw in the dream my close relative, we'll call him Mo, and so you're going to laugh at Mo every time, so he's just going to be John. John's good. Maybe we should call him Eric. No, I'll call him John. And in the dream, this big boa constrictor was after me, and I was crying out to my relative, to John, save me, help me, save me. And I woke up, and I was like, it was one of those dreams where your heart's pounding, and I'm still, when I got all the way awake, I'm still saying, save me, help me. And so that next morning, or that morning when I got up, I called John, who hasn't been, he's very close relative. He usually comes to Thanksgiving, Christmas. I haven't seen him in 3 or 4 years, and at one of those events, and I don't talk to him very often. So I called, and he doesn't have a phone, so in order to get a hold of him, you have to call this person who calls this person, and he calls you back. And so I called the person, and he answered the phone. And I'm like, hi. Wow, you don't answer the phone very often. And we had a short conversation, and I said, Thanksgiving's coming in a couple days. I'd like for you to come. He's like, yeah, I got to work, and I don't think I can, I can't be there. I got to work. And I said, well, how about Christmas? You coming for Christmas? Because we haven't seen you in like 3 Christmases. We'd love to see you at Christmas. And he's like, yeah, I don't know if I can come at Christmas. I might have to work. I'm like, no. Actually, your job's closed on Christmas, so it'll work fine, and you can get here in an hour, so it should be no problem. He's like, yeah, no, and he's kind of like, looking for words. And then he said to me, I smoke, and I know you guys everybody in the family hates my smoking, and I hate it too, and I just feel really bad that, I'm there, and he's like, it's just like, it's kind of, every time I go outside to smoke, it's kind of a problem, and I'm like, it's a problem? It's not a problem. And he's like, oh, no, it's a problem. I said, listen, my mom smoked all her life, and I sort of liked her. And I said, and he's like, well, I know you don't like my smoking. I said, well, I love you much more than I hate your smoking. And you've been welcome at my house forever. It's not a problem. And he's like, yeah, well, okay, well, I'll think about it. And I got off the phone, and I was thinking about how he's in the dream, and I'm saying to him, help me. And there's a boa constrictor after me, and I'm saying to him, help me with this snake, help me with it. And he's the one that has the problem with smoking and doesn't want to come and doesn't want to participate in our family. So after the phone call, I'm like, oh, he's supposed to help me, teach me how people who don't feel like they measure up can be welcomed in. And I started realizing that there are people, a funny thing is I'm asking him for help. He's the one that's struggling, and I'm the one asking for help. I'm like, how do I get people I love who feel shame to get close to me? And I realized that we're kind of in this dilemma of, Jesus in Matthew 28, he said, make disciples of all nations, teaching them all that I taught you. And I feel like I'm often in this catch-22, and that I'm trying to bring righteousness and right living and truth to culture, to community, to family, to our children. And at the same time, sometimes in our quest for righteousness, we inevitably shame people who don't feel like they measure up. How many of you have any idea what I'm talking about? I feel like we're in this kind of situation where how do I teach people everything Jesus taught me, and how do I still connect with people who, including me and you, all of us, who go through seasons or have a lifestyle that doesn't measure up? And how do I say, this is right, but I love you more than being right? And it's really a challenge in our culture, isn't it? Because Isaiah cried out and he said, in the last days, they're going to say that good is evil and evil is good. And we see that in our culture. It's like things that are, obviously wrong are now being argued as right. And it's been that way for the last 30, 40 years. And this has happened all through history in different waves. And it's like, how do I connect with people? I was thinking about, this dilemma of sometimes in our quest to connect with people, we have to pretend that what they're doing is okay. Or sometimes when I'm trying to create a culture, when I'm trying to help a culture of righteousness, sometimes as I just said, sometimes I shame people instead of bring any kind of, if you will, righteousness to people.